Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Universal Journeys show. I almost said radio show. With your hosts, Dr. Brenda L. Bates and Donny Winter. I'm already a hot mess. Look at how things are going. Our mantra is follow your heart, for only you know which path is right for you. Universal Journeys is about how spirituality intersects with every other aspect of our lives, even when we do not see it or realize it. Creativity and expression are our connections to the spiritual energy many seek to understand, and our identity is forged through this process. Universal Journey seeks to help illuminate the different intersections between creativity, spirituality, and identity in order to empower and enlighten. And tonight, our topic is snakes in the grass. And we will be discussing the history of St. Patrick's Day and whatever should cross our thought bubbles over the next 30 minutes. So, hello, Brenda dear. How are you?
Good. Hello, Donnie. How are you? Hello, everyone out there. I got my green on. Whoa! Snakes in the grass. Snakes in the grass.
See, I'm being a deceptive snake. I'm not wearing any green, but I'm still prideful with St. Patty's Day. Woo!
Yay!
I swear, that excitement was genuine. It wasn't sarcastic.
So, what did you find out about St. Patrick's Day? I'm excited to find out.
Well, honestly, until we thought of doing this show, St. Patrick's Day really never crosses my mind. In my mind, St. Patrick's Day was just the day where I would go to Walmart and get myself a shamrock and call it a day. And maybe have an alcoholic beverage, one of the two. But I decided to do a little bit of research, and I found that there is a lot of interesting historical context behind St. Patrick's Day. So, in doing this little bit of research, you have to wait for my computer to load. My little itty bitty computer is taking forever tonight. But in doing my research, I decided to kind of look up some trendy yet interesting articles on St. Patrick's Day, and I could only find one in particular. And it is from techtimes.com. I've seen this site come up a few times, so I'm fairly sure that it is a reliable source, but we will have to see, won't we? We will have to see within, my lifetime, preferably, if this would load. Brenda, do you have it up? Because, okay, here we go. Just kidding. It has loaded for me.
I have it.
I am all good. I'm good.
Hey.
Okay. So this article was written a year ago, and it says that St. Patrick's Day 2015 is almost here. And you know what that means. Get out your green garb, find some shamrocks, and build up your strength to partake in over 21 festivities, if you know what I mean. And I think all of us can kind of gather what that is trying to say. St. Patrick's Day is a day for anyone, whether you are Irish or not, to let loose and have a bit of fun. But how did St. Patrick's Day become a big party? That is today, blah, 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 blah. How did it become a big party that it is today with parades? This article is not the best written article, but that's besides the point. Kissing the Blarney Stone, lots of drinking, revelry in general. Well, let's just say this holiday didn't start out as one big pub crawl. The history of St. Patrick's Day is much more modest than today's celebration would lead you to believe. So this article really doesn't share much about the history until it starts mentioning the 9 different tidbits that it provides. Brenda, did you just want me to go through and read this one?
Well, either that or I guess we did have a little bit different one here if you want me to read what I have.
That would be excellent.
Okay. It says St. Patrick's Day history. St. Patrick is known as the patron saint of Ireland. True, he was not born Irish, though, but he has become an integral part of the Irish heritage, mostly through his service across Ireland in the 5th century. Patrick was born in the later half of the 4th century AD. There are differing views about the exact year and place of his birth, however. According to one school of opinion, he was born about 390 AD, while another school says it's about 373 AD. Again, his birthplace is said to be in either Scotland or Roman England. and that does say Roman England. His real name was probably Maewyn Succat, though Patrius was his Romanized name. He later became to be familiar with or as Patrick. Patrick was born the son of Cornucopius, a Roman British army officer. He was growing up as natural as any other child in Britain. However, one day a band of pirates landed in South Wales and kidnapped this boy along with many others. Then they sold him into slavery in Ireland. He was there for 6 years, mostly in prison. This was when changes came to him. He dreamed of no, he dreamed of seeing God. Oh, hold on just a minute. Okay. Legends say that's like, okay, that's a confirmation. Okay. Legends say he was then dictated by God to escape with a getaway ship. Finally, he did escape and went to Britain and then to France. There he joined a monastery and studied under Saint Germain, the Bishop of Auxerre. He spent around 12 years in training, and when he became a bishop, he dreamed that the Irish was calling him back to Ireland to tell them about God. The Confession, Patrick's spiritual autobiography, is the most important document reading. Okay, got it. It tells of a dream after his return to Britain, in which a victorious deliverer delivered him a letter handed the voice of the Irish. So he sent out for Ireland with the Pope's blessing. There he converted the Gaelic Irish, who were then mostly pagans, to Christianity. He was confident in the Lord. He journeyed far and wide, baptizing and confirming with untiring zeal. And in a diplomatic fashion, he brought gifts to the kinglet there and the lawgiver there, but accepted none from anyone. Indeed, Patrick was quite successful at winning converts. Through active preaching, he made important converts even among the royal families. And this facet upset the Celtic Druids. Patrick was arrested several times, but escaped each time. For 20 years, he had traveled throughout Ireland, establishing monasteries across the country. He also set up schools and churches which would aid him in his conversion. He developed a native clergy, fostered the growth of monotheism, established dioceses, held church councils, etc., etc. Patrick's doctrine is considered orthodox and has been interpreted as anti-plagiarism. Oh my goodness gracious! I'm about as bad as you are.
There were some big words in that article.
It's Pelican or something like that. It's not Pelican, but it's close. Yeah, Pelican. Can you imagine Pelican? I'm walking like a pelican. Oh Lord! Oh, here's the drink. Gotta have some of that drink to calm me down here. There you go.
Or secretly drunk, everyone.
Woo! Okay, now let's get back to work here. Although he is not particularly noted as a man of learning, a few of his writings remain extant, and it does say extant. His confession, a reply to his distractors, and several letters, the Lauricia, which is the breastplate, a famous hymn attributed to Patrick, may date to a later period. By the end of the 17th century, Patrick had become a legendary figure, and his legends have continued to grow since then. There are many legends associated with Patrick. It is said that he used the three-leaf shamrock to explain the concept of the Trinity, which refers to the combination of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Hence, its strong association with his day and name legend also as that. St. Patrick had put the curse of God on venomous snakes in Ireland, and he drove all the snakes into the sea where they drowned. Hence, the snakes. True, these are mostly legends, but after some 1,500 years, these legends became inseparably combined with the facts, and together they have helped us know much about St. Patrick and the spirit behind the celebration of St. Patrick's. Patrick's mission in Ireland lasted for over 20 years. He died on March 17th, AD 461. That day has commemorated as St. Patrick's Day ever since. I mean, that's way back in, way back.
A
It
long time ago.
was like
A very
1700s, something like that. It was quite interesting, anyways. Let's see. Though originally a Catholic holy day, St. Patrick's Day has evolved into more of a secular holiday, or rather, be an Irish day. And the Irish has borne to it, or it as part of their national tradition, and everywhere they populate and prospered. The Catholic feast day for this most loved of Irish saints has become a holy holiday in celebration of the Irish and Irish culture. The leprechaun, a Celtic fairy, which I don't think a leprechaun is a fairy, but we'll go with that. The leprechaun, a Celtic fairy, has become entrenched as a chief symbol for this holiday, as is the shamrock, an ancient symbol of the triple goddess Bridget, which is quite interesting that they would take, again, a pagan symbol and bring it into a Christian holiday. It is fitting that this holiday should fall at the same time of year when the return of spring begins to seem at hand. Let's see. But why is the icons like the green color, the tri-leaf shamrock, the leprechaun, or the pot of gold in Blarney Stone all come to be associated with the celebration of this day? Question. I don't know. Let's learn more about it, okay? I believe it's because of the shamrock. That's weird. Okay, so
like, obviously, based on that description that you provided, that St. Patrick's Day has a lot more depth to it than what most people, especially in our country, would say. Because obviously, when I was explaining to you my knowledge of St. Patrick's Day, I was just like shamrocks and drinking, nothing, nothing with any depth to it. So I guess originally when I was doing research, I was like, why the heck do we celebrate St. Patrick's Day in the first place? And according to this Tech Times article that I found, St. Patrick's Day is traditionally celebrated by attending Mass and thinking about the life and legacy of St. Patrick himself. Okay.
Yeah.
So really, a lot of people in our country really can't deeply connect with that unless they are of Irish descent, for example, and are familiar with Irish history as well.
Well, even in Ireland, where it's a holy day, they actually have a day off. It's a holy day, and they go to Mass, and then from there they go out and celebrate, and they do celebrate St. Patrick's Day with drinking and eating and festivity and stuff like that. So when the Irish came over here, they brought that custom with them. And there are many, many places throughout the world who actually do celebrate St. Patrick's Day, which is kind of a neat thing. And I think the United States, at least right now, we know that a lot of them do so anywhere from, it actually started in Boston, by the way. That was kind of an interesting thing that I read. When they came into Boston, Boston is the first, it says the early Irish immigrants like the English, Dutch, German, French, and the likes brought this tradition to the United States. But it was not until 1737 that the immigrants really celebrated the day. Irish colonialists brought St. Patrick's Day to what is known to the United States of America. During the first civic and public celebration of St. Patrick's Day in the 13 colonies, which took place in Boston, Massachusetts in 1737. That's how long we've been celebrating here in the United States. The Charitable Irish Society of Boston organized what was the first St. Patrick's Day parade in the colonies on March 17th in 1937. The first celebration of St. Patrick's Day in New York was held at the Crown and Thistle Tavern in 1756. In New York's finest, or first, I should say, probably the finest too, the first St. Patrick's Parade, or Day Parade, was held March 17th, 1962, by Irish soldiers in the British Army. And I thought it was quite interesting too, because about this time, it says in 1780, George Washington, who commanded soldiers of the Irish descent in the Continental Army, allowed his troops a holiday on March 17th. This event became known as the St. Patrick's Day encampment of 1780. Today, St. Patrick's Day is widely celebrated in America by Irish and non-Irish alike. Now, there's one thing that I do have to say is my ordination date in 2002, guess what, was on St. Patrick's Day. And they do celebrate in New Orleans. It says New Orleans has a parade that is strongly influenced by Mardi Gras. Unlike most parades where the participants statedly walk the parade route with perhaps an occasional display in Irish dancing, the parade at New Orleans features floats, jazz bands, and colorful costume characters with float riders throwing spectators strings of beads, cabbages, and potatoes. And I have to tell you, guess what? When I was there, I got to see all that. I even got to get some of those green beads. You had to give a guy a kiss to get a green bead, the necklace. So it was quite fun.
That doesn't sound like a bad thing.
No, it wasn't.
So, first of all, your explanation with the sources you have is excellent, because I like I said earlier, had very small understanding of St. Patrick's Day. However, my interest centers a lot in how American culture has influenced the celebration of St. Patrick's Day. And the articles that you were referencing covers most of these other points that this listing that I found has, but there's a segment that says, when did St. Patrick's Day become all about partying? And it says that National Geographic reports that St. Patrick's Day used to be pretty tame in the beginning. Pubs would even close on March 17th in Ireland every year until like the 1970s. We can trace some of the modern revelry associated with St. Patrick's Day to the fact that prohibitions on eating meat, drinking, and dancing during Lent were lifted for the day. And then it says, and here is where America comes in and likes to, mess with things a little bit, like it does frequently. However, America is responsible for turning St. Patrick's Day into the big party we know and love today, which is totally not surprising. There's some debate over when the first St. Patrick's Day parade took place, but early celebrations in Boston, like you were saying earlier, it talks about the years and dates and everything. St. Patrick's Day celebrations continue to grow as more and more Irish immigrants came to the United States, especially after the Irish potato famine in 1845. Today, there are celebrations in many small towns, big cities, and bars across the country. New York St. Patrick's Day Parade is the world's oldest civilian parade and the largest parade in the U.S., according to History.com. Don't know if that's a reliable source or not. And Chicago is also famous for dyeing the Chicago River green every year during the celebration. So this brings me to the question, though. Is the American influence on St. Patrick's Day focused on commercialism like we've seen with, say, like Valentine's Day and Christmas, or does it stay true to originally what was being celebrated? What do you think, Brenda dear?
Well, I think it's commercialism, actually. I mean, it's a great day to go out and celebrate, be kind of goofy, wear green, look like leprechauns, and first and foremost, drink green beer. But as this article that you read states that, America, but I can tell you there are many, many places throughout the world who celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Let me give you a few here. Of course, you got your Ireland. Okay, that's the United Kingdom does. Italy does. Norway does. Germany does. Denmark does. Montserrat does. Russia does. South Korea, Japan. Let's see, skip over the United States. Let's see, Canada does. Let's see, Philadelphia, New Orleans, Syracuse, New York. We got that. Here's one. Here's one that it surprised me a little bit, and I think it stuck out because of the Pope. And this is the celebration in Argentina. It says in Argentina, and especially in Buenos Aires, all night long parties are celebrated in designated streets since the weather is comfortably warm in March. People dance and drink only beer throughout the night until 7 or 8 in the morning. And although the tradition of mocking those who do not does not exist, most people would wear something green. In Buenos Aires, the party is held in downtown street of Reconnacusta, where there are several Celtic bars. In 2006, there were 50,000 people in this street and the pubs nearby. Displayed all of these varieties of the festivals all over the world and driven by the same spirit, and why not? After all, everyone is Irish on St. Patrick's Day. While it reminds us about St. Patrick, the day is also a celebration of being Irish and enjoying everything Irish. So make an attempt to have the real fun of being Irish. Adorn yourself in a green clothing, pin the shamrocks on, hunt for that leprechaun. Well, maybe not. Cook and feast the Irish way. Laugh away all worries with Irish jokes and dance to the tunes of the Irish bands. Top of the morning to ye.
That sounds lovely. I do have something St. Patrick's Day related. Look, I have a shamrock. Isn't it
Hey,
cute? Anyway, so it seems like that the reason for celebrating has changed to me, though. Like, originally it seemed to just be a celebration of St. Patrick himself, but now it seems more like, a celebration of, family and friendship and community, of like this, gathering together, enjoying life, that type of thing. At least to me, that's how it seems.
Well, the thing with that is it doesn't matter how you celebrate or what you celebrate, because every time that you raise that drink, okay, you're raising it to St. Patrick, and St. Patrick is the awesome guy who got rid of all the snakes and he brought Christianity to Ireland. Now, if you want to know what my little leprechaun looks like, here he is. My little green Yoda. He is my leprechaun.
I love it. Oh, that's awesome.
So, but St. Patrick, it has many different meanings to many different people. But when it comes right down to it, St. Patrick is the saint to celebrate. And he's the most celebrated saint of all.
Mm-hmm.
That's saying something.
This is true.
So.
Well, I hope that a lot of people watch this and develop an understanding more so of St. Patrick's Day, because I feel like a lot of people like me exist out there when we're like, St. Patrick's Day, what? Drinking. Yeah. It's important to know the history behind these types of things, because everything that we do, everything that we celebrate has some form of cultural influence usually beyond our own country.
Well, and that's very true. The other thing that I find quite interesting is that this particular article that I was reading, or website that I was reading, is called www.theholidaysspot.com, and it's talking about St. Patrick's. But it goes back to paganism again. It goes back to the goddess Bridget. Goddess Bridget, she has a lot to do with the fertility, with spirituality, with a bunch of different things. Let me see if I can find something about her. But it's about the newness that comes out, the greenery that comes out during this time of season. So I believe that's truly why we have this green. Plus, I like the shamrock anyways.
Right. The shamrock is totally awesome.
Yeah.
But I just think that this awareness is important, though, mostly because I feel like people should appreciate it and respect the history, and not necessarily overlook it, if that makes sense.
Well, it does. I mean, it puts an understanding of why we celebrate certain traditions or certain days of the year. And just like Easter or Easter, there's reasons why we celebrate that other than Jesus Christ himself. So this is just one of those things, another one of those things that, hey, I'm going to celebrate. Why not? Be happy. And if I have my Michigan State stuff on, I would play the little tune, but I don't have it with me.
Oh my God, Brenda. Oh my God. Brenda is the sporty spice out of this little Spice Girls group. So Cindy, Stream of Awareness on YouTube, go check her out, is watching us right now, and she posted a comment that says, "I'm glad to know it's not a bloody mess like Thanksgiving is. white people tell one story, Native Americans have a vastly different story. Look it up sometime. And I think that's something that we should eventually address on the show at some point too. Because holidays are often developed or shaped by the dominant culture that overpowers a smaller group of people, or a group of people who aren't familiar with a certain culture, you know. And I think, again, awareness needs to be cultivated, because these holidays exist as good things when in all actuality they came into being from something negative. Does that make sense?
It sure does. But St. Patrick's Day and celebration is like, woo! We got a joy on. See, let's go.
Oh my god. Whew. We're a riot tonight. Brenda, quit sharing your drinks with me.
Hey, here, Donnie, what's more?
All right, so we only have about 4 minutes left, so I figured we should do some promotion slash discussion slash all of that jazz. I don't know what that was all about, but that's besides the point. I digress. Brenda, the face you're making.
That was a Yoda face.
It was the what are you doing, Tony face. Anyway, so if you guys like watching our show, and we hope that you do, please subscribe to our channel. Please comment. Please share our YouTube channel around. We recently made a move from Blog Talk Radio to YouTube, so we are, in a sense, trying to put our little puzzle pieces back together and branch out more once again. So any help is appreciated. And if you like us and you want to go find us on other social media outlets, you're more than welcome to go on Facebook and find us. If you type in Universal Journeys in the search bar, you can find us that way. Or if you type in the URL bar, facebook.com/Universal Journeys 111, that's another place to find us as well. If you subscribe to our channel, actually, we will be posting up the live events for our show, so you can subscribe or click set reminders so you're reminded when our shows will be occurring, and they occur the first and third Sunday of every month. Okay, Brenda's saying yes. Okay. Last time I said it, I was like, oh, first and third Monday. First and third Sunday every month. Okay.
There you go.
And it'll always be from 7 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. unless Brenda and I decide to do a edited video, which at some point I'm sure we're going to do. But definitely stay tuned for our next show, because there are a lot of things happening in the world of politics right now, a lot of things happening in the world in general, and there's a lot of very deceptive rhetoric out there that is very misleading, and Brenda and I are going to talk about that at that time as well, because, well, awareness is good. Yay, awareness.
Absolutely. I like that face, Donnie. It's great. So I'm going to put a plug in here for FYH Creative Designs. It is my business. I do vinyl letters, banners, and signs. And pretty soon I'm going into a whole new, different field, as in within this, and I'm going to be doing something different. So if you want to check me out here, I am on Facebook at FYH Creative Designs. And also, I have a regular website called fyhcreativedesigns.com. So come check out the new stuff. We'll be posting something probably next weekend when I get home from Detroit.
And she does a lot of really awesome work.
I try.
I just love it. Also, I'll do a shameless plug as well. If you like YouTube videos and you want to watch more YouTube videos, if you go to my own YouTube channel, you can find a wide variety of different videos that I do there. YouTube.com/Donny Winter. Also a plug for our friends over at Mystical Awakenings, blogtalkradio.com/Mystical Awakenings. They have a slew full of different really awesome radio shows that you could listen to pertaining to spirituality and the paranormal. We largely thank them for, helping us grow and to help us become who we are. All right, Brenda, do you have any parting words for us?
I do. And always remember, follow your heart, for only you know which path is right for you. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night.